Hello everybody, my name is David Lefebvre. Welcome to this webinar on Epigeum's Statistical Methods Research Program. I hope you find it valuable and thanks for your interest in Epigeum. It's great to see so many of you on the webcast from the UK, all over the UK, from Holland, from South Africa. Welcome to the webinar. This is me on the left. So my name is David Lefebvre. I'm one of the founders of the Epigeum project, and I'm here with Tessa Dagley, who helped build the course. She's one of our senior editors who actually built the course, and Tessa will be showing you the course later and talking you through the functions. This is what we're going to do. First, I'll tell you a little bit about Epigeum because it's a fairly unusual organization. We'll then talk about the Statistical Methods for Research program, why we built it, what it does, and what problems it solves. I'll then hand over to Tessa, who will give a demonstration to actually show it you. And hopefully that will really crystallize what this is about. And at the end, we'll take any outstanding questions. So first of all, about Epigeum. So we were founded in 2005 as a spin-out from Imperial College London, and we're now part of the Oxford University Press. So the story behind this is that we were building online courses at Imperial. Then we found them very expensive to build, and we came up with the idea that it would be cheaper if we partnered with other universities. So we started to put together groups of universities, 15 to 20 universities at a time, to collaboratively build courseware. And what we found was that this lowered the cost for everybody, but also improved the quality because they were peer reviewed, and that peer review process improved the standard of the courses. This became quite a complicated endeavour, as you imagine. So Epigeum was formed as a spin-out from the college to manage this process, and then as it got bigger and bigger it became part of the OUP. So it's still a project. It's not for profit. It's fully owned by Oxford University, emerged out of the sector and has been doing this for about 10 years. And if you look at bullet point number 2, so we don't publish courses in the core curriculum. We do the training around the curriculum. So plagiarism, statistics, how to conduct research, how to teach, etc., etc. And if you look at the last bullet point, we've now got 78 online courses across 12 programs available for license or subscription, including the statistics one we're talking about today, and a further 7 programs in development. We operate internationally, and our courses are built with a very international group of institutions, and you'll see this later when we show you the stats course. Okay, so we're now going to show you a short video on how we develop our programs. Hopefully this will sort of make it clear what Epigeum is and what it does.
The story of an Epigeum course. We come up with an idea and we consult widely to develop and fine-tune it. We commission a team of expert authors to write it and a team of expert reviewers to help them. We commission a lead advisor who gives strategic vision and leadership. And we bring together a team of universities who form a development group to give feedback on our plans and prototypes and to make sure the product meets their needs. The collaborations we build are drawn from across the world and often involve input from over 50 academics, as well as our team of in-house specialists. Because we believe that collaboration and iteration are the key to producing truly innovative and effective products. So we bring everyone together for a launch workshop at the start of each project. It's a great mixing pot where the creative juices can flow and expertise can be shared. We provide a week-long training course for our writing team to make sure they're able to get the best out of the online medium. And we provide plenty of opportunities for sampling and feedback along the way through a detailed peer review process. In fact, a typical product goes through at least 5 iterations before it's ready to be built by our in-house developers. Together, we're more than the sum of our parts, and our unique and rigorous product development process gives all collaborators access to groundbreaking courses they couldn't have created alone. Here's what some of our customers have to say. Our products are used by over 200 institutions in 25 different countries. To find out more about the collaborations we're currently building, click on the Next Steps button or get in touch with us direct. We'd love to work with you.
Okay, so hopefully you now have a clear idea of what Epigeum does and who we are. Maybe let's now move on to talk about this particular program, the program that you're interested in today. So, Statistical Methods for Research program. So, who's the program for? Well, it's for master's students and PhD students. Anyone who's conducting a research project and requires statistical methods. We aim to provide 90% of master's students and 70% of PhD students with all the statistics they need to conduct their research projects via this course. In the time available, it doesn't cover all statistical methods, of course, but at the very least, it should give students who are planning to use more advanced techniques a basic understanding of statistics and enable them to understand how to make that leap into more complex methods. And if you look at the third bullet point here, so it's based on a course which has been running a number of years at the University of Reading. And being statisticians, they measure performance. And what they found is that on average, students increase their knowledge of these methods by 125%. So who was involved in developing the content? Well, Sandro Lidi, who's a senior statistician at University of Reading, was the lead advisor on the course. To our knowledge, Sandro is the leading proponent of online training in statistics. He's passionate about it and has been teaching extensively in this way. Here's the universities who came together to help us build this set of courses. So you can see predominantly from Ireland, the UK and Australia. Here's the list of courses. So there's 7 of them. Course 1 is an introduction, course 7 is conclusion, and there's 5 topic areas. So describing data well, making good generalizations, hypothesis testing, statistical modeling, and analysis of categorical data. So how are the courses actually used? Well, as you'll see shortly, they're a collection of highly interactive multimedia courses, and they can be used in 3 different modes. So the first one is as a standalone online course. So in this mode, you make the courses available to students throughout the year. Students access at a time and place of their choosing. So it's the most flexible approach. Students get the learning on demand when they need it. Then we move on to the second one, tutor supported, is similar, but you have tutors. And unless you have tutors running throughout the year, then typically there'll be a start date and a close date during which students get access to tutors. The tutors can respond to questions from the students. They can encourage and motivate the students to complete the course. They can report on activity. So having tutors really adds to the learning experience, but you compromise that flexibility to a degree. The third way, which is increasingly popular, is for students to study the course in advance of a workshop via one of the other 2 modes. So a typical use in this way is that students will study the courses, get the knowledge of statistics, of basic statistics they need. In the workshop, the focus is then on how to apply that in the student's particular context through tutorials, through discussion, through tutors giving students pointers on how they can apply the methods to their particular research topic, etc. So probably the most effective, but also the least flexible. So you have a range of different modes, and the courses can be used in all 3 at once, and this is often what universities do. From a technical perspective, the courses can be placed in our VLE, which is how Tess will show them to you shortly, or they can be placed in your virtual learning environment. So if you place them in your learning environment, then you can change them, adapt them. You can add your own screens, you can disaggregate them, reaggregate them. You have more control over the content. You also, of course, get the data in the manner which you're used to. If you use the courses in our VLE, the advantage is that you can get up to speed with this very quickly. You subscribe and your students can be using the courses a few days later. Okay. The other thing to say on implementation is that Epigeum has an implementation team which will talk you through all of these options. help you find the right approach for you, and give you any technical support or training that you need to use the courses successfully. Okay, so hopefully that's given you an overview of Epigeum and the background to this set of courses. Now hand over to Tess, who will actually show you what they look like.
Thank you, David. Okay, as David mentioned, I'll be showing you the courses and the screens as they appear in our BLE, in our hosted solution. There are 5 faculty-specific versions of the programme, as you can see here. There is a version for social sciences, biomedical sciences, business, engineering and technology, and natural sciences. The screens in the following demonstration have been taken from the version designed for social sciences. However, I must emphasise that all pedagogical features are the same across all versions. So to give you an idea of some of the programme's features, I have chosen a selection of screens, starting at looking at a screen on straight line regression in the course on statistical modelling. At the top of every screen we have a screen challenge, which indicates what is going to be covered in the screen and what participants should have learned or should be able to do after completing that screen. We also offer an estimated duration, here 7 minutes, so that participants have an idea of how long it is likely to take to work through the screen. Screens vary in length throughout the programme. This particular screen, as I mentioned, is about straight line regression, and it takes as its focus a data set about the relationship between an individual's personal savings rate and their amount of disposable income. This data is presented in a table here in the centre of the screen. Scrolling down, you will notice that certain words and terms are highlighted in green, such as the word pattern here. This indicates that the word can be clicked on to obtain a pop-up glossary definition. Additionally, at the beginning of each course, participants are able to download a document containing all the glossary definitions for that particular course. And additionally, there is an overall programme glossary of all the courses, which participants can download and refer to if they wish. Next, we have a flowchart of statistical modelling framework, which will be applied in an activity later in the screen. Visual representations, like the one used here, are scattered throughout the programme to illustrate key learning points. You will notice these boxes on the right-hand side. We call these pods. They are clickable boxes containing extra information about the main screen content, as well as activities, documents to download, definitions of key terms, and links to further reading. I will now move on to talk about activities. Activities in the programme fall into 2 categories, interactive and presentational. Interactive activities require the participant to actually do something, whether this be entering text in response to a question, matching items, or putting items in order, and so on. Presentational activities, on the other hand, are used to present key subject matter in an engaging way, rather than simply as flat text. So this book activity is an example of the latter. Laid out attractively, it takes the participant through a step-by-step example of using the statistical modelling framework. This page, Stage 3 Model Fitting, features a screenshot taken from a real statistical software package in Stat. The demonstrations and activities in the programme, so not just in this course, have been designed to support students in using a range of popular statistical packages. I will talk more about this in due course. Underneath the activity, you'll see a new feature of this Epigeum programme, which is the interactive model pod. This pod gives participants the opportunity to see statistical concepts in action. This particular one focuses on the topic of residuals and features 2 interactive graphs which the participant can manipulate and observe the effects. For example, in this first graph, you can move the arrows up and down to manipulate the data. By dragging the red arrows up and down, the participant is able to change both the gradient of the fitted line and the point at which it crosses the y-axis. The aim of the exercise is to make the residuals as small as possible and thereby to find the line of best fit. In the second activity here, the participant is asked to position the line in such a way that the residual sum of the squares, that is, the total area of the boxes, is as small as they can achieve. The arrows can be used to manipulate the graph in a similar way to before, like so. Here there is also the option to reveal the solution. Moving on to another screen in the programme, I will take you to the course on which hypothesis test should I use. Midway down the screen on the p-value, you will find the first of two worked examples. These essentially are helpful videos dotted throughout the programme which guide you through how to conduct various statistical analyses in different statistical software packages. They complement the main screen content and concepts by demonstrating and providing students with highly practical skills. The first one here illustrates how to complete a one-sample t-test and calculate the p-value in the software package Minitab, using the data of rented housing as detailed earlier on the screen. Specifically, it shows the student how to test the null hypothesis. I will just play a short extract.
We conduct a one-sample t-test to test the null hypothesis that the true mean percentage of rented housing in town is equal to 38.3. Do the following. Stat, basic statistics, one sample t. Click on Summarize Data. Our sample size is 30.
Underneath you'll see a transcript button. All our worked examples and other videos have a transcript for accessibility purposes. It is worth highlighting that indeed all our interactive screens have an accessible counterpart, which can be found via a button at the top of the screen. These printable versions are compatible with screen readers and useful for those who are unable to use the interactive version for any reason. These have been developed with the help of our expert accessibility advisor at the University of Edinburgh. Okay, so moving on to another feature on this screen. You'll see here a pod entitled Statistics in the Real World. These pods are intended to highlight the relevance of statistics and statistical methods in wider society and everyday life, providing links to interesting, engaging articles and news items. The link here, for example, illustrates how p-values are being used for real research into whether or not a full moon affects crime rate. I will now talk briefly about the resources and the modes of assessment that can be found in the programme. So clicking to another screen here, we will look at the course quiz and course quiz resources. Now, with the exception of the introduction course, there is a multiple choice quiz at the end of each course, which provides an opportunity to put what has been learned into practice using a mainstream statistical software package of the student's choice. Before each of these quizzes, there is this course quiz resources screen, which provides the relevant resources necessary. Typically, the student will be encouraged to download two documents. The first is a dataset, and the second is a document containing additional figures. So this might contain graphs or tables, which you might need to answer the questions. It is worth noting that the datasets are actually available to download in some other screens too, prior to the course quiz section, wherever they complement the specific topic on screen. Now you'll notice we have the statistics packages box here. We provide downloadable instructions for completing the quiz for 7 different statistics packages. These PDF documents take the student through the questions, step by step, instructing what to do on screen, which functions to select, and clarifying when to move on to the next question. Finally, let's take a look at some of the other features in the programme, which give students further opportunities to measure their progress. One very important feature is the pre- and post-programme quiz. Now, in the first course, Introduction to Statistics in the Context of Research, you can find a pre-programme quiz in the first unit. This gives the student the opportunity to test their existing knowledge by answering a straightforward multiple-choice quiz of 20 questions. They have 50 minutes to read and answer all the questions, and then at the end they have the option to print out a record of their responses. Basically, the idea is that they can look out for the particular topics which need further attention as they work throughout the programme. And then in the final course, conclusion, putting your skills into practice, the same questions appear. The students can then compare their final score with their initial attempt to see how far they have come. The second form of assessment can be found on this screen entitled Complete a Model Report, also in the final course. This screen contains a series of highly interactive activities which give students the chance to complete their own sample model report. By downloading a dataset here, and by completing the range of activities that follow, students can simulate the methodical development of different sections that feature in a standard statistical report. So if I show you a couple. The first is a close activity of choosing the missing word, and this is followed by other tables of data and opportunities to create their own analyses, for example in the form of box plots. Like the interactive model pods, participants can manipulate these. So this is really before the post-programme quiz, the form of evaluation that rounds off the course. And hopefully we do it in an engaging and entertaining way. I hope I have given you a good taste of the programme content and of some of the pedagogical features. If you do have any questions, please note them down, or feel free to contact me or somebody else at Epigeum after the webinar. I'll now pass back to Sarah.
So at this point, if you have any questions, please do type them in. Otherwise, you can contact us directly at marketing@epigeum.com, or you can access a free course trial via our website, and you can get in touch from there as well.
Great. Well, I think we must have answered all your questions as you went along. So thank you for all of you for staying to the end of our webinar, and I hope you found it useful. Thank you. Bye-bye.
Thank you.